Yeah, the podium's there, so welcome.
Well, so it's known that good afternoon, or I guess it's almost good evening.
It's always a late one.
Is there a fine for that?
You know.
Sure, it's the end of the table. Unfortunately for the residents of Comox, calls for service were up almost 21%. The first half of our fiscal year, which goes from April until the end of September, going from 953 to 1,150 calls. But this followed a general trend across the Comox Valley as a whole that saw an increase of 18%. We're looking for good news. Under the category of violent crime, there's almost no change in the number of crime being reported to police in this area. But violent crime includes harassment, assaults, and uttering threats. And the ones that were reported were most of the time concerning persons known to each other. So stranger violence is still a minority of cases, if not rare. Under the property crime side of the house, we saw a very significant increase in thefts from vehicles and frauds since April. Like thefts of vehicles, if you look on your sheet there, it's on the second last column on the right, went from 28 to 107. Most of these crimes were completely preventable. If cars were locked and valuables removed, I might have said that once or twice before. The increase in frauds is related to the credit cards and debit cards which are stolen from unlocked vehicles. Overall, many vehicle owners told police that they left their vehicles unlocked and their valuables left in plain sight. There were also numerous reports of people walking at night checking door handles, particularly this past summer. A number of offenders, though, were arrested after they used stolen credit cards from the vehicles. Police were able to identify these criminals with the help of some of our local merchants and their surveillance video. Those arrested were known priority offenders with extensive history of thefts in our jurisdiction. As a result, we've increased our street checks by about 22% in the first half of the year to try to manage some of our prolific offenders. It's also a good time to remind Christmas shoppers to put all their presents in the trunk and, if at all possible, move their car to another parking spot in case anybody's watching. We also encourage people to report suspicious people near parked cars this time of year. The majority of the bike thefts over this time period are also connected to one resident known to have an extensive criminal history. If you're looking for more good news, we had no residential break-in enters reported in the first 6 months of the year. However, Highland High School was broken into and 3 youths were arrested for that during the summer. And with the closure of the hospital, you should see about a reduction of about 150 files per year, or about 7% of your total calls for the coming year. So I guess in conclusion, enjoy the season. Remember, the police and our partners in the fire and ambulance service are working throughout the holidays. We also ask you to remember the Canadian Armed Forces members of 19 Wing who are overseas, and we probably appreciate your thoughts this time of year. Be safe. Hopefully we don't have to show up and ignore bad news. In closing, I'd like to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. We're blessed to live in this valley.
All right. Thank you for your report and your kind greetings. Questions from members of council?
Nobody wants to know, I'll go. So I had a chat with Inspector Walton earlier today because I got a letter from the Comox Valley light trucks people regarding the Christmas lights on the trucks. And without going into the entire letter, basically what it says is that they go around to old folks' homes and places where kids can't get out to see them on the parade and collect donations. And of course, they've had a problem with that and been asked not to do that anymore. So I'll just go to the very bottom line, or the very bottom paragraph, and it just says, we understand that officers have a job to do, and we fully respect their concern with the lights on the busy main streets. However, our ask is that we be allowed to continue driving through the quiet residential neighborhoods in first gear at approximately 10 kilometers an hour. for the next 10 days so we can bring the joy of Christmas lights to people that can't get out to their homes. In my opinion, this is something that's getting a little bigger than it needs to be. And I think that it's just a case where if you could just give them a call or they phone you and come up with a solution would probably be the best way. I think it would be the best fit for everybody, my personal opinion, but they asked me to do that, so there you go.
We've had direct contact with some of the people and a couple of the drivers in particular. Going beyond that, I guess would be inappropriate for me to discuss operational matters, whether or enforcement of the Motor Vehicle Act. But we cannot, however, give permission to anybody to operate a vehicle equipped with illegal lights. And that's, again, a public message I won't waver from. But so we've had conversations, and I'm sure we're going to get some more people inquiring about it. So.
Fair enough, thank you.
So, Inspector Walton, then, like, what I understand is that this is a type of event that happens up and down the island. So is this like straight across the island now that these light shows on the trucks will be stopped, or are we just isolated from the rest of it?
I'm not aware what other communities are doing, and I don't think it would be appropriate for me to comment on any enforcement in any other police jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. Any other questions? In terms of the police report, incidents of fraud looks like it's doubled. Is that anything in particular, or is it again just one or more offenders, or is there some sort of trend that we should be aware of?
It's related to the theft of vehicles. People steal credit cards and debit cards,
There you go.
and especially with the tap feature.
Yeah.
Unless people have disabled that,
Right.
which is easily done. Unless people disable that, you can tap without having to put a password in.
Okay.
So it's all related to the theft of vehicles. People, I dare say it again, not locking their doors. So.
And I have heard your public affairs person talking about that, on the radio and so on. So it's just a good reminder, especially this time.
Yeah, it's very rare in this community to have someone break a window to steal something out of a car.
Right.
It's very rare.
All right. Well, look forward to receiving perhaps a better report next time. Not that it's your fault.
Thank you.
And all the best to you. All right, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the updated strat plan. And looking for a recommendation from this committee to council that be approved. So on that, we can certainly entertain another discussion about the draft that's been provided. And I thought, at least from my review of it, that it reflected most of our discussions. And in particular, I was appreciative of the fact that they included as a final page sort of what we've completed to this point in time. So are there other comments, questions, concerns?
I did particularly appreciate seeing what in fact has been accomplished. We sit at the table and say, whoa, all of these wonderful things should be, and then lo and behold, they happen. Yes, so I commend staff for the kind of service that they're doing this time.
That's all right.
Yes, and I think it was a good process, and we started in the first year, and I think we've steered a course that has been fruitful, and we've added to it and focused as we've gone through the years, and there's one last part of the year to go, and I know not everyone's agreed with us on everything, but I think we've had some good successes, and I certainly think Marina Park and the kids' play area and water park are really good additions to the town, and yeah, I think it's I think it was a very good process, and yeah, pleased with it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's commendable too on our staff's part that we actually keep our staffing levels pretty reasonable, if not on the low side, and yet still accomplish a great deal, probably more so than most communities. And so I think that attests to just the overall management and operations of what we're doing here. So I think it's a good job all the way around.
No, definitely a team effort for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, if we approve this motion, then we'll come to the first council meeting in the new year for final approval. So are you ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. I was remiss in just noting that we do have another agenda item, and that is to do with the in-camera meeting.
Right.
So unless there's anything further, we would entertain a motion to exclude the public under section 92B of the community agenda.
Second.
And that, all those in favor? Motion's carried. So we'll just let the room clear and then video.
Just told them